Women working to reduce digital gender inequality in Africa gathered in Accra, Ghana for the second annual Africa Summit on Women and Girls in Technology. The organizers say they put together the event to consolidate efforts by policymakers, activists, academics, entrepreneurs and community leaders to get an equal share of the digital dividends earned since the creation of the web.
The digital gender divide is basically the difference that men and women face when it comes to accessing and using digital technologies, including the web. Many of these factors tend to also be political, civic, economic, and social, and they also compound to make for a difference or differentiated digital experience.
One of the main issues delegates are tackling is the cost of connectivity, which is still a major barrier for most women on the continent. A global study by the Alliance for Affordable Internet, A4AI, indicates that women in some cases earn up to 50% less than men in identical roles. Broadband packages still cost more per month than the minimum wage in most African countries. Given that infrastructural shortfalls are the major driver of relatively high charges across the board, delegates put the onus on African governments to make access cheaper.
In order to make sure that we have access to affordable internet in Africa, we need African governments first to adopt the 1 for 2 policy, which has already been endorsed by the United Nations, of 1 gig of data for no more than 2% average monthly income.
It will likely take more than policy adoption to ensure a break from disparate and prohibitive traditional gender roles.
There's different factors. There's a role that government can play. There's a role that innovation hubs are able to play. On the government side, if it's not part of policy, it's difficult to expect that kind of support for women when historically it's not been there. I'll give a classical case, for example, in the situation of South Africa, where as part of government's policy, you have to include previously disadvantaged groups. So you have to include women, you have to include black women. And the more of these boxes you tick, the more positive outlook for your company in terms of securing government business.
Women in the African technology space decry, for example, negligible action on their recommendations for the creation of women-friendly internet cafes and innovative hubs where training, safety and economic opportunities can be provided. The Web Foundation, the principal conveners of the Tech Women Summit, is the brainchild of Sir Tim Berners-Lee, who created and donated the web in 1989.
Go to your lobbies, go to the processor, then back here, then to the RAM.
A report released by the foundation early this year revealed that about $408 million earmarked for African governments to increase internet access, especially for women and girls, has not been used.